well, ultimately that reminds me of my big theme of this movie, for what it's worth, is that this movie connects well with Scripture because it values childlikeness. So toward the beginning of the film, John Krasinski, we kind of parodied this scene. He's playful, but he's sick and injured in the hospital. And B responds, you don't have to treat me like a kid. Sometimes life doesn't have to be fun. And he has this moment, well, that's true, but it doesn't stop us from trying. She repeats, I'm not a kid. And then the plot of this movie is her moving from being hard-hearted, like an adult who's lost their childhood, to kind of moving toward being childlike and reconnecting with her imaginary friend who's there to help. And all this connected for me with Matthew 18. There's a big section where Jesus talks about children. Matthew 18, 1 through 6, it's a whole paragraph, but it says, "At this time the disciples came to Jesus saying, 'Who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?' And calling to him a child, he put him in the midst of them and said, 'Truly I say to you, unless you turn and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea.'" And I think this passage connects with the movie in a few key ways. One is that they both Scripture and this movie have a value for childlikeness. Maybe not childishness, but childlikeness. And then both of them talk about how sin and tragedy in this world often causes a child to stumble and lose their faith, and lose their connection with something important. And so did you see any more connections with when we were talking about this before?
I think it's interesting that the dad has that childlikeness, and one of the key responsibilities of a father is to raise their children in the fear and admonition of the Lord. I just think of Proverbs 22, right? Train a child up in the way that he will go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. And what's interesting is what B has gone through has hindered her from learning what she needs to learn from her father, who is about to get open heart surgery and is still willing to have fun and joy in the midst of what he's going through. And then she's like taking on there's no joy, there's no fun. That can't be possible. I think that's
the key right there.
Yeah.
Is what he's modeling and trying to get her to capture.
Yeah.
Is childlikeness, even as a dad. And I think even in this Matthew 18 passage, trying to figure out, so we throw out childlike faith all the time, but what does it mean to be childlike? At least in that passage, just in terms of combing through it, trying to be properly exegetical here, is a child is unconcerned with greatness, status, and they place hopeful dependence upon God for salvation. They come to Jesus, and they're humble, is what Jesus explicitly says. They humble themselves and be like this child. And so maybe not trying to be self-sufficient. And I was trying to see, okay, what does the movie say about what it means to be childlike in the movie? And it's kind of similar. It might be a child recovers the sweet memories that have been suppressed by grief. So they don't give in and have a hard heart through grief. They try to view the world with optimism, right? Hope, The last line of the movie is, what if? Which is kind of neat, but that wasn't a theme in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it was out of nowhere.
We hope you enjoyed this snack-sized taste of Popcorn Theology. Check out the full episode using the link in the description. Subscribe on YouTube for more content. Follow and interact on social media to share with others. And remember, you are not a mindless consumer.